discussion and roundtable discussions and guest speakers are open to everyone. Meetings are for members and or prospective members, guests. And we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, you know, we can't hear you, just say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's have a moment of reflection. Hopefully, the situation continues to improve and we can start somewhat getting on with our lives again in a quote unquote normal fashion, whatever that may be. So just spend a moment in silent prayer and thought. Thank you. Next slide. It is with sadness that after our member Jerry Fishman, who even though he was unwell before the COVID situation, was coming to our meetings with his health aide, and he was an active participant. Tried to be there, helped us with some gifts, gave us some gifts for the picnic. He was really a nice person. Thankfully, he passed away peacefully on June 4th at 87 after living with Parkinson's for a decade. He earned his bachelor's degree at SUNY Oswego, who served in the U.S. Army in Germany as a medic. He was married for 60 years to Judy Denner Fishman. He receives his Master of Arts degree from College of New Rochelle, and he was a teacher at Pearson High School for 30 years and a high school tennis coach for 45 years. In his second career, he was the owner of George's Clocks and Watches, specializing in the repair of grandfather clocks. He was the treasurer of Bethel Cemetery Association on the board of the Temple Bethel Men's Club, and an SAMS member for 7 years. I remember he came in right around the time I did, and may he rest in peace. We're going to miss Jerry. All right, thank you. We had our board meeting last Thursday, and there were a lot of items that we covered, but we got quite a bit done. By now, I did, and I'm sure most of you that paid for the St. Patrick's Day luncheon got your refund checks. With the situation being so still up in the air, we decided that just clear the books and get everybody back their checks. We were hopefully going to have the spring luncheon, we were thinking at that time, and since that didn't come about and we had to cancel that, we decided to give everybody back a refund. So if you didn't get your refund, and you're still waiting for it, I think Lloyd, did you mail them all out?
I mailed out every one except one person who didn't have his apartment number, but I tried twice to contact him, once by telephone, once by email, and I don't know whether
Who's the one person?
Who?
Who is it? Maybe somebody knows.
Bill McGear.
Bill who?
McGear. He runs the fishing trip, or did anyway.
Okay.
So I'm just waiting to hear from.
Okay.
Larry here. I just want to interject something. I had a telephone call from one of the members who did get his refund check and said he will be donating it back to the organization. And so Lloyd, you may get an envelope back from this generous member. So if anybody wants to, they are free to, but it's not necessary. But I just wanted to mention it.
Oh, thank you for telling me.
Okay. All right. So if you didn't get your refund check, either get in touch with Larry or Lloyd, and they'll handle that. Okay. We decided since we're not having any real get-togethers. Used to have the summer Thursday lunch groups, and that may or may not come about. In an effort to keep everybody connected, we're going to continue with weekly meetings throughout July and August. There'll be, we'll send an email out, but somebody's giving feedback. I don't know. See the, okay, that stopped. We'll probably be meeting, what we say, we're going to meet from 10 o'clock to 11. And we'll get some, normal announcements out. It's going to be an informal meeting. We may or may not have a speaker. If anybody in the group wants to bring up a subject and talk about it, and then we'll have some discussion afterwards that just be an informal, just get together. It could even be just an hour of catching up and chatting. So we'll continue with that, like I say, during the summer, and it'll be from 10 to 11. Next slide. We think, as best as we can guess, that we're going to be continuing with Zoom meetings through the fall. In fact, on that same subject, I got an email from Debbie Sofa on the other day, and she wanted to know typically how many people we have at a meeting, because they're starting to try and look at their crystal ball and make some plans and what they would do if the situation changes. And I told her that we've been looking at a lot of ifs and coming up with if this then that, and almost like a logic problem. If A equals B and B equals C, A equals C. And then she answered me back and said, yep, that's the same thing they're doing. So, they are still up in the air with how they're going to use the church and the facilities. They want to see how many groups they have and the size of the groups and what they can do if we can go back. So what we did do, we decided that, everybody's in tough shape, and I'm sure the Fish Church, like all other organizations, depended upon our patronage. It's costing $100 a week, and it's now going on March, April, May, June, 3 months. It'll be 3.5 months that we have not met there, and at $430 4 1/3 weeks in a month. That's $1,300 that they lost out. And what a number of the area groups are doing, some have continued, some of them are a little more flush, they've continued paying their rent, or their fees. Some have made donations, and the board decided that as a sign of good faith and helping the Fish Church, they've been very good to us. We decided to give them a $500 contribution, token gift for the revenue that they've lost and to help them continue on. We're going to proceed with the activities. We are proceeding with the picnic. There was a lot of discussion as to what we would do and wouldn't do. And again, it was based on a lot of ifs. However, the picnic committee is going to meet in July, and they will, based on the situation at that point and time, they will come up with the recommendations on what will be done. The picnic was scheduled for the 17th, which was really the second week back if we're back in full swing. And one of the things they're looking at too is if to give a little extra time, depending upon what's happening, maybe the possibility of going to the following week, the 24th, which is typically we've had it the last week or week before the last week in September. So more will come out after the July picnic committee meeting as to what will or will not be done, involved, whether we have to socially distance and bring our own tables or chairs and sit out on the lawn at the Cove Island. So you'll hear about that. Golf and tennis at this point in time, both these activities are proceeding. Again, the final details will be determined as to whether they allow us to eat lunch, or if we do, what kind of lunch will it be? Where will it be? And we certainly don't want the one group on the first tee and second group on the second tee. That's a little too far apart, but we're going to have a golf and tennis outings. As far as trips go, the fact that we go by bus or carpool, both of those are not viable options. And then even when we get to whatever venue, that might be problematic. So at this point, we're not planning any trips. When things change, then Alan said he'll get on and try and get some trips together. They might be short distance or local, however, but we'll have to see as we move along, and that's be a very fluid situation.
Joe, activities, I was wondering, is any provisions or plans afoot to collect at the activity if we don't have any formal meetings at the Fish Church?
To collect the fees?
Yes.
Well, that's going to be up to the committee and to decide how they're going to handle that. Probably have to do something like that unless, do it by mail or whatever. So, but that's going to be up to the committees to decide, the committee chairs to decide how they want to handle payment. I don't think in any case other than the picnic are we looking at any sizable amount of money, and that would be the caterer, and I'm sure he would want to be reimbursed very soon after the event. because he's laid out the money for salaries and for food. Okay, on membership, another thing that we did, couldn't make a decision on was to have an open house. Do we have an open Zoom house? If we meet at the church, depending, if we're able to meet at the church sometime in October, are we going to have social distancing, or we're going to meet our limit within the group itself? And do we have 10 people come to an open house? At one time, Bob, I think we topped off with about 30 people at one of our open houses. 30 people would have to be 600 square feet, 500 square feet of space if we're using the social distancing formula. So if we're on Zoom, maybe we could advertise if we have a good speaker scheduled for one of those weeks, we can make an extra effort to bring our friends on. But with Zoom, it's just as easy to invite our friends and family and prospective members to any of the meetings as we've done in the last couple of months. So that is still an issue as to whether we have an open house or not. Another question that we looked at, we're generally getting, like right now, we have 60 people, and we've generally been getting 100 to 110 people to our meetings lately before the snowbirds went. With the snowbirds, we were in the 80 to 90 range when they were gone. Why are, the 30 to 35 people that we were actively getting to our meetings not coming to the Zoom meetings? I mean, it's obvious that, there are 100 members that rarely come to any meetings, but the 35 to or so active members, why are they not coming to Zoom meetings? And Carl, Stu, and a couple of other people are getting together, Jerry McLaughlin, Mark Font, Steve Fisher, are working with that, coming up with a program to contact these people who have not been attending, and trying to get them to find out why they aren't and what their reasons are, whether it's technology, whether it's just they're not comfortable with it. So we'll try and improve our Zoom meeting attendance, and that's being worked on currently. Next slide. You're going to hear about the budget. Brian McDermott used his crystal ball, and now it's just a report, and he'll give it. And there's really, unless somebody has a real question, nothing to discuss, because it's based on a lot of ifs and if nots. So don't, it's just a stab to see if we're in a worst case scenario, which is everything opens up and we have to spend money, more monies, where we would stand, and he'll explain that later. Lori Price has extended an invitation, if those of you who were on last week, to have a session for women, spouses, significant others, daughters, on finance for women. And the way we're going to handle that is we don't need to do anything special. She'll let us know, probably either Steve, I think she was going to let you know, and Steve will get out a email blast telling you what and when, and if you want to let your significant others know what the connection is. I think it's going to be on Zoom also. So with that, we'll get more information. Thank you. All right, this week's speaker is our state senator from the 27th, Carlo Leone, and he will be talking about the state of the state. I'm sure, there'll be a lot of interesting information coming out, especially on COVID. So stay on and listen to Carlo when he comes on. Next week, Major Sarah Schechter, chaplain in the U.S. Air Force, stationed in Germany. And Sarah is our own Rabbi Phil Schechter's daughter, and she'll be talking about her role as a chaplain, again, with the current situation, both militarily and medically. And then on June 25th, Dudley Williams, who is the chair of, or was on the Mill River Project. I think he was chairman of that. And he's the chairman of the board of the Ferguson Library, and he will be our final speaker of the season. Okay, the minutes for the June 4th meeting was sent out. We had 67 members. We're getting close to that tonight, or this morning. So, Ira?
You just gave the report for me. Nothing else to add. I assume everybody received the minutes and hope everybody's healthy and stay well.
Okay, you didn't get any objections or corrections or anything. So with that, we're going to assume the minutes are approved. Okay, next week, Joe is going to...
Larry.
Larry.
Yep, next week, Joe D will be talking on current events. And I'm looking for a leader for June 25th, our final formal 9:20 a.m. program. So whoever wants to lead a discussion, email me and give me a topic. And we look forward to having you be the host. So next slide. Due to the fact that obviously we're of the age group that doesn't respond well to COVID-19, most activities will wait till we're in phase 3. It's expected that phase 3 is going to occur in late July. Next slide. The picnic is scheduled for September 17th. Stu, you want to say your little bit for this?
Joe pretty much said it. The committee is considering a bunch of things. We don't know exactly, need to understand what phase 3 really means. I mean, it could mean that the state will open up to large groups, but still have social distancing, things like that. So we'll consider all these things. And I think the odds are that we will run a picnic of some sort. Hopefully we can have more people than fewer people. So stay tuned, and in July, we'll be able to come up with a more specific proposal. Thanks.
Thank you, Stu. Next. The fall golf outing we expect will take place. The only question is about lunch, and we'll have to see what the situation is at that time. I noticed a lot of our members I saw on the course when I was playing this week. So I know you're out there and looking forward to participating, seeing you practice. So Brian or Howie, anything to add?
Only that I'll be sending out emails probably in July to find out who wants to go and who doesn't want to go, and who really wants lunch and who doesn't want lunch and who doesn't care about the lunch.
Okay.
By the way, if there's anyone who is interested in golf that did not get any emails last year, that means you're not on my email list. And if you could contact me, I will update you on our golf proceedings.
Okay. Very good. Howie, anything else to
Yeah,
add?
I told Paul we're still probably going to run it. I haven't looked into any ideas about lunch. I haven't had a chance to meet with Brian yet. Something was floating through my mind. Can they do something in that little field, you know, where they, you know, behind the old house, you know, where we could just be by ourselves? We don't know yet. It's just, it's so much up in the air, you know. People like myself, I'm afraid to get together with too many people. You know, it's got to be social distancing at the moment. So Brian and I will chat over the summer, and but we will plan on holding the actual tournament. It'll be, you know, a shotgun start, so we can all finish at the same time. Whether we just wave goodbye to each other or we have something to eat at that time, that's up in the air yet.
Okay. Thank you very much, Howie
Thank you.
and Brian. Next slide, please. Carl, can you put the next slide, please? Tennis tournament will be the following Monday, October 12th. Target sign-up date is September 10th. From my own experience, I am playing doubles at my tennis club, and it's very easy to maintain the distance, and we'll have to just figure it out how to do that during the play. I don't see Larry Berger on today or Joe Mattel. Are either of you here? Neither of you have spoken up, so.
I'm here.
Okay, Joe, you want to talk? Anything to say, add?
No, I don't have anything to add. I haven't
Okay.
spoken to Larry. I think the date is still the date.
Right. Okay, very good. I think that's it for me.
Brian, you're up.
All right, I'll give you a quick summary of the report. The two main columns you want to look at on the report is the approved budget, which we approved early in the year before all Corona, and it showed us with a positive balance of 704. And the other key thing to look at is the forecast for the full year, which, as Joe mentioned, is very fluid. But looking at the worst case scenario, we should still wind up with a positive balance of about $758. And that assumes, which financially is our worst case, that there's no songster performances, that there's no new member dues, that there's no silent auction, and that we'll have to restart our rent payments from September through December, and that we have to restart paying Margie for the songsters. So the worst case, that's our worst case scenario. Without a lot of those elements, we could wind up with a positive balance of $4,000 to $5,000. That's it.
Are there any questions to it? Not what if or why, but someone that doesn't understand anything. Raise your blue hand. Okay, great. Thank you, Brian. Carl.
Yes, the no changes in the new memberships. I think we had, was Florence the only guest we have? Do we have any other guests online with us this morning? No. Okay, just as a reminder, it came to Lloyd's attention when he started trying to refund checks for the St. Patrick's Day luncheon that not all of our members have been keeping us up to date on their changes of address. it's important to us to be able to contact you, but of course it's important to you when there's refund checks involved. So for a lot of good reasons, please inform me, send me an email when you do change address, and include all the information, like we're missing Bill's apartment number. Please include
That was who, Bill?
Bill McGurr.
Oh, you know what to do? Call, easy way to do that is call John Cullen. He's across the hall from John Cullen. He's on the 4th floor of 44 Strawberry Hill. Yeah.
I thought John moved into the place, the Hayes house.
That's 44 Strawberry Hill.
Yeah, but Bill's in one. Oh, is he? Okay. I'm getting confused with some of the other change of addresses that I did get were for 143 Hoyt, but Bill's with John. Okay.
Yeah, I think Franco, you're there too, right?
Yes, I saw him. He's good, well, and I give him a cookie from Baldotti. So.
Okay. Do you know Bill McGurr's apartment?
I can find out, but also probably, I don't know. The idea, if you send an email to everybody and everybody replies, say, yes, confirm the address or change address, it will be easiest way.
Well, if you can get Carl and Lloyd McGurr's apartment number.
Lloyd is a number one. Lloyd is on
4E.
He's on the building below.
I think
I don't think it's necessary to talk about that during this meeting. I will mention though, Carl, there's a couple of typos on the phone numbers. Like there's a 293 area code instead of a 203. You might just want to go in whenever you get a chance and.
Okay, I'll correct that. I'll check that. And I also think Franco had a good idea. Maybe if I put together the address, the contact information, and Steve sends it out asking people to provide the information, we can get a better update on from addresses for future events.
Okay. Moving on. Has Carlo joined us yet, Steve?
No, he hasn't.
Okay. All right, Phil, you're up.
Wait, he's coming on now.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. And this is the opportunity to share with members, should there be good news to report, or unfortunately, if there's some bad news. So anybody have an update for us? Lester, I know Harry gave you some information, which we kind of checked out and discovered it wasn't exactly accurate. So why don't you bring us up to date?
Okay. Peter Fortman, you got your hand up. Peter, unmute yourself.
I'm trying to unmute him.
There we go. I think you can hear me now.
Oh, you're out of the hospital.
Yes, I'm happy to say I got home yesterday after 2 weeks and a day in the Stamford Hospital and in their rehab section. And I'm happy to say I'm feeling good. It worked. I got myself a new pacemaker, and I got a lot of work done on my cancer situation. So I'm a new man, and I'm happy to be back with the group.
And we're very happy to hear the news.
Okay, great, Peter.
Thank you.
Welcome, Carlo.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Hey, Carlo.
Well, anybody else on any news or good news, hopefully?
Bill Monk's got his hand raised.
Okay, Bill.
Unmute yourself, Bill.
Took his hand down. Okay. Moving along. Okay. Dick Harper on today? Dick,
Can anyone hear me, John? I was starting to make a comment.
Oh, no,
Anyway,
we didn't hear you.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. My uncle Jack Jablonski, who joined about 2 years ago, he's had a couple incidents, so he really hasn't been to too many meetings. But his latest problem was he had an eye operation, and it's a couple months. But anyway, bottom line is he calls me up every Thursday afternoon and wants to know what's going on with our meeting. So he's really interested in the meeting. He really misses coming to, to our meetings. But for some reason, he's having a lot of difficulty trying to get on to our video stuff. But anyway, I know probably not too many people know him, but he's really interested, and he's better, but not 100%. So I just pass that on.
Thank you, Bill. Dick Harper.
Hello. Sorry I missed a couple meetings. Couldn't get in, believe it or not. The book on Desperate Ground will go over some stuff that some of us in our 80s or 90s may remember when the Korean War was really fierce. So this should be a very interesting book on Desperate Ground, the story of the Chosin Reservoir battle. And we're due to do this on June 5th. So that gives us a little time to get a hold of the book and to read it. So let's have a good discussion when we get there.
Thank you, Dick.
I'm
Dick,
sorry,
I
when
think
is
it's August,
the date? Dick?
August 5th, not June 5th.
August 5th.
August 5th, sorry. You are correct.
Okay, next slide. Are there any items that anybody wants to bring up in the next couple of minutes?
Yeah, Larry here. Just wanted to see if any activity occurred. I know we discussed it about diversity of our membership.
I think that when we discussed it, there was going to be a group getting together and formulating some ideas and plans. So I haven't heard anything. No, but that'll be something that'll be ongoing and planning through the summer, so we can get a good jump on it in September.
Joe, it's Ed Roloff. We had a couple of years ago, we had a group meeting to discuss ways to expand our membership, and diversity was a part of it. Not much happened, unfortunately, with that. There wasn't a lot of success, but I still have some notes about it, and maybe all the people on that committee, we can get together with a Zoom meeting and go forward. You were on that committee, Joe, I believe.
So I know, I think Phil and who was it, Stu, that new Reverend Lindell were going to start trying to do something.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's.
And we had his friend who does the radio program every week, I think, come and talk to us about it, but not much happened beyond that.
Okay, thank you, guys. Now I see from the photos, a few guys are trying to grow things on their chin and above their lips. And we'll give you guys the summer to try and come up with something novel like this. So come in September, be ready, all you excess facial hair guys. If you have something like this, no normal mundane goatees or Van Dykes. It's got to be something, spectacular. So if you have something that's going to look like this, throw your hats in. It has to be a derby, and we'll have a special prize that we'll give out at the picnic.
Joe, can I talk?
Yeah, quickly. We got a couple of
Yeah,
minutes.
just quick. I'd like to also make a contribution on this one. I'm trying to grow my hair. So by September, you get all my hair.
You got to bend a little lower so we can see your hair, your hairline. Right now we see just your eye. Yeah. It maybe can come up and curl it over the top.
I'll try hard.
Okay, Frank.
Yes, okay.
Okay, continuing on, let's go right into, no, we don't have time for jokes. Okay, we have with us our State Senator Carlo Leone, who's been very gracious, and I think we put him off a day and tried to get him. So he's accepted to speak to us, and he's with us today. He's the Deputy President Pro Tem of the State Senate. He's the Chair of the Transportation, Vice Chair of Finance, Revenue, Bonding, General Law, and member of the Commerce and Veterans Affairs Committees. Senator Carlo has been a resident of Stamford for more than 30 years. He has represented the citizens of Stamford and Darien as State Senator for the 27th Senatorial District since 2011 after a special election. He previously served the residents of Stamford's 148th House District in the Connecticut's House of Reps, beginning in 2003. Carlo is a Deputy President Pro Tem of the Senate and co-chair, again, of the General Law Committee, overseeing many consumer issues, as well as the Senate co-chair of Transportation. He is the Vice Chair of Finance, Revenue, and Bonding and General Law Committees, and a member of the Commerce and Veterans Affairs Committees, as previously stated. And Carlo, thank you for being with us today. And I know you want to give us an update on